it's all made up, yeah. Just a fear tempted to make me comply. And I don't wanna walk the path alone. Nobody else there. It's must be you. Must be you. That's an example of basically almost like a Jeff Buckley sort of riff. There's not necessarily a riff, but more like vocally what he would do. Long note values, right? Crescendos, right? Getting louder from a soft state of, those vocalizations, right? Those lines. Obviously the vibrato, the falsetto vibrato. And about that consistency, about that vibrational, consistency right there. And so I chose something very simple. So basically, all it is you've got the this shape right here. It's basically a C shape, right? And then you got a B, and then walking down to an A, like an A minor. So C major, and then what's happening with the B is it's almost like a pivot chord, or you could call it a pivot chord. A chord that pivots is going to be kind of the middle point of the walk down or a walk up, and the reverse of this case. You can walk back up from A minor to B to C, right? Like that. Wild little chord. Really pretty. I like that chord a lot. To me it sounds like Everlong. Out of the blue, out of the blue, she'd say. And I wonder, will you sing along with me? Right, something like that. That's what usually you have when you start out. You'll have you'll have a nice chord that you really dig, right? And then you'll have this chord that will come to you in songwriting that complements that first chord. And it sounds very versy, right? If you only have two chords, it goes back and forth. Tension, release of tension, or very non-tense chord, right? Very, very pretty chord, and then a tense chord. So, you can have that reversed, flipped. Another thing to sound like Jeff Buckley is the bass and rhythm section, bow, ba, 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 basically, I think it's a song called Eternal, on Grace, that is just like, almost like KT Tunstall and Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, like rhythms like that are going to lend themselves to rhythmic elements versus the melodic, right? The melody or the harmonies that you write, the melodic lines, essentially, melodic riffs. Instead of this, I could have. Try to sing along with that riff. It's either you're singing with a riff, or you're basically doing what I call A-Bing a riff, and the vocal. So a band that does this very good is any blues musician, right? The bum 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 bum, from the day I was born. From the day I was born till the day I die, I'll be writing songs and post them in the sky in the YouTube. Right? In the YouTube. Sometimes they'll repeat a line in the YouTube. But they never play. They do a that double. So the timing is a little bit different on it. Right? You have a double. But it's creating that backbeat, however fast you go. That's more of a Marilyn Manson, The Beautiful People sort of time, doubling, right? The beautiful people, instead of right? It's rhythmic. So if you have a rhythmic idea versus a melodic, it's always going to come off as, one, more danceable, two, it's going to help you to life, like, coming back to the ideology behind how Jeff Buckley wrote his music, and how everyone involved, the people that he um, went into the studio to record his album with, those people were in direct support of his vision. And he was very ADD. He was very undecided, just watching a documentary, which I'll link to. And because I think it's important to understand that, we're all human as far as, how we approach songwriting. And really, there's no tried and true method. Like, you learn the rules enough to be able to bend and break the ones that you need to in order to facilitate a win-win-win scenario. Win cubed, win square. To the third power. Like, you want to have an exponentially beneficial melody and rhythm for your song, for your lyrics, and that lyricism, and really the essence of the song is projected forward into the melody, and what we're doing rhythmically is only going to help that lyrical analysis. So when we think about word painting, or trying to gather the essence of what we're trying to say in the verse and the chorus, we start with the mood, and then we go to the hook, and then we go from the hook, and then we go to the first line of the chorus, and then we try to finish the chorus, and then we see how we can go into the chorus, and we try to develop one chord, held up to one chord first, for that verse chord. And so what that is going to do is you're going to actually have the singability, the thing that's, you're reverse engineering your song, and joy and happiness, and like, or sadness, or whatever, you're wanting to get down to the meat and potatoes of what you're trying to say, that is melancholy, and so once you kind of have that that one chord that you could play that could go into the chorus, or let's say you have a chord that is in your chorus that is kind of a passing chord, or a pivot chord, or a passing tone, it's not in the key signature, which is the definition of a passing tone, or a PT, is sometimes they're called. In music college, I took the well-tempered clavier and had to write out all the passing tones, which was a very common thing to do in that era of music and musical composition. So that taught me a lot about chromaticism, and or the tritone, a tritone is just very in the key. It's the F sharp note in the key of C. The only thing you're not hitting is that C sharp or the D flat, but and you can still hit it, but it gives it a little bit too much color, a little bit too much chromaticism, and the ear wants to focus on just it I think it takes away from it. Oh, and I'm over a minute exactly right now, but so let me go ahead and wrap this lesson up. So essentially, just to review, you have walk down sort of riffs, almost like in Landslide. So you can have the same thing going up, just like we talked about. A minor to the B to the C. You can have that walk up or walk down, and I think that vibrato, there's something to be said for the vibrato, honestly. One of my music mentors, and actually someone that I was taking lessons with, alongside of voice lessons, back in 2000, I don't know. I'd have to look at my records and everything, but he couldn't do vibrato. Like our teacher had to like push on his stomach to basically get the feeling of what the vibrato was doing vocally to his body, and it worked. It freaking worked. So that's the, whatever the method is of teaching vibrato. The fact remains that vibrato is a very important tool in your toolkit, your vocal toolkit, but also your songwriting toolkit, as far as a way to kind of vulnerably deliver what the message is. So it all goes back to the lyrical analysis, and what are the lyrics saying, and then that's what you should do vocally. The lyrics will dictate almost always, I'd say 9 times out of 10, in my eyes, 95% of the time, the lyrics are going, if you have a riff or something musical, and then you write the lyrics, sometimes you have to go back. I mean, many times, I would say the majority of the time, you have to go back to the lyrics, and you have to change them because, you have to go back to the riff, and you have to change it because now your new lyrics are so good that it kind of foreshadows or kind of undermines the integrity of the riff, the original riff, and now you're like, it matters now. I can't say this musically because lyrically we're going to a different place, and you really have to honor the lyric to the deepest essence of, and that's why people say, like, kind of speak about it like it's a child or something like that, or that's your song, baby. You have to let it loose in the world, and become an empty nester, and let it go off to college, and let it do great things, for the listeners out there. And that's true. It's definitely true. But if you just look at it logically and objectively, you're gonna have a better song if you start with the lyrics first. Like, yes, always record every time you get an idea for a riff, so that way you can pair those riffs with the musical integrity and the emotional capabilities, the possibilities, the emotional possibilities of what's there lyrically, that you can adhere to from what you've created, melodically, through these riffs, and through the chord sequences that you like, or chord progressions, and then start pairing your musical ideas with your lyrical ideas. create a Word doc on whatever file system you want to, whatever app you want to. I use Evernote, and I use Apple Notes, Notes, if it's quick enough. If Evernote is having some trouble loading, usually that's an internal thing for the Google Notes little section. But to create a lyrical one-liners, and to really focus on syntax of your words, and what rhymes, what doesn't, and almost become like how a rapper is trying to create like sounds. There's something to be said for rap, and how beautifully rhythmic it is. It's almost more true to form for to really honor a poetic reality, or poetry. And it's I think rap is poetry, and and so is songwriting. You have the verse, which is the stanza, and poetic prose. But you have to. Our job as musicians and songwriters is to make that musical. And I think that's the toughest part, is to pair music with lyrics. But I think that's what a beautiful problem to have. I actually don't consider it a problem. But because it's just a way you reframe what you're doing. It's like kind of like the saying, if you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. It doesn't discredit the difficulty and the energy and the emotion that you will invest and put into this craft that you're creating, but it gives it place to always be honored. And so try out these methods. You don't have, it's not a hard and fast rule, but play around with that Bo Diddley beat. Bump, 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 bump. That's I want candy. There's a lot of riffs that have melodic interest, right? That catch your ear. You're like, oh, I like that. Da 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 da. Right? It answers itself. It's like a call and response, or an a B part to an A part. So, there's things that just to solidify this 30-minute lesson, right? It's going to be about a 30-minute lesson. You want to say something that is melodically interesting, but you also want it to be rhythmically sound enough to have that underlying pulse, right? Or the backbeat, right? The snare, boom, ch, boom, ch, boom, ch, right? Something, turning that riff into it again, right? Right now is I'm sampling what I just played with my guitar. rhythmic, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm so grateful um, for our committed musicians channel, and the committed music that you guys are creating. You know, it's valid. Like, don't let anyone ever talk you into believing the lie, into the lie, right? Because that's what it is. That you're not good enough, that your words suck, that you know, whatever. Like, whatever the lie is, right? It'll masquerade as the truth. I promise you it will. Especially if it's from a person that you care about in any capacity. Once they speak that spell, you know, those words that create a spelling, right? Um, it's hard to undo that criticism that cuts you to your core. So you really have to reframe that, and you have to get better. You know, I think that you know, there's a shirt that my son had, and it was cool. It was like, don't get bitter. You could get bitter, or you could get better. You know, get bitter or get better. And I always thought that was so cool. It's like, you can misinterpret, you know, or you could take it for face value. Someone thinks you're a piece of crap musically. They don't like the way you write lyrics. They don't like your riffs. They don't like your song ideas, right? It's okay. Those are for you. They're not for anyone else. And so it's really important to find songwriters that are going to edify and uplift you, but give you those constructive criticisms, and it's not just this riff sucks or that lyric could be better. Okay, well, what could be better about it? You give me an example, give me a solution. So unless someone is providing you solutions lyrically or rhythmically or um, uh, you know, like on whatever level you need, then that's not for you. That's not a person who understands what songwriting is. So I've got 30 seconds left on this 30-minute video, and I just want to thank you again for watching, and for adding to the conversation, and for being a committed musician. It's having longevity within your music career and in your artistry is the hardest thing. So I commend you for that. And peace out. We'll talk to you later, committed musicians. Love you guys.